The impulse of individuality is a topic that can be touched upon. We say that universally, past a certain minimal point of mental development, people have a desire to not be, so to say, sunk into the anonymous, bottomless pool of what is perceived as uh, humanity, other people, and so on. I don't want to be a nobody in a huge, endless sea. I want to rather be somebody. I want to distinguish myself. We see that this drive manifests itself in a whole variety of ways of differing complexity. It could be something as simple as me wanting to put a flower in my hair as a child to stand out from the crowd, right? To stand out from my peers. It could be something such as wanting to tattoo myself, to differentiate myself from others, to express myself. It could be something such as to wish to um, have a particular taste in music and food or what have we that I feel makes me unique, my uniqueness. Obviously, it could be more complicated. I could wish to be a world king and conquer the whole world like a Napoleon or a Julius Caesar. I could wish to rise to the top of some hierarchy and be a major player in some game in politics, in finance, in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, whatever the case might be. But this drive to be somebody, to not just feel like an anonymous nobody, undifferentiated from others, it does seem to be ubiquitous and universal. Perhaps it can be sublimated, perhaps it can be repressed, perhaps it can be uh, not expressed in any sort of manifest way, but there's no reason to think that it is entirely absent in any cases of self consciousness proper, such as are associated with us human beings. So, what can be said on that account? What are positive and negative ways to feel unique, to feel special? Should we repress this desire altogether? Am I bad or wrong for wanting to be unique and special? For wanting to be above other people? Should I go all the way with it and try to ignore the existence of others, or at least of those that threaten my sense of specialness, uniqueness, superiority? What's a healthy approach herein? First of all, it could be asked as to where this impulse can even come from. Why in the world, not having existed for innumerable ages, right? And all of a sudden I pop into existence at some point, and then I want to be somebody. And I have all these claims connected with my particular individuality. I have to be number one, I have to succeed. Where does this come from? Of course, it's easy to use terms that we suppose carry some explanatory power, to say instinct, or to say it's the neurochemical vibrations of the cerebral organ, the brain, what have we. But we're looking for deeper conceptual philosophical explanations. And one such explanation could be that the human experience can be thought of as a sort of amalgamation, meaning a sort of um, combination of a whole and a part. I am whoever it is that I am simultaneously a whole, if in question is my subjective first person point of view, the fact that everything comes to me, right, as a, say, conscious subject, but I'm also a part in the sense that I look in the mirror and there's just one body, and then there's all these other bodies that I see, right? And I just have one mind, one perspective, and I suppose there's all these other minds, all these other perspectives. I have these agendas, and there's all those other agendas. I have this desire, and other people can threaten it. So I'm simultaneously a whole and simultaneously apart. And it seems that not really experiencing myself wholesomely as a whole, I then throw all of the claims of wholeness, of wholesomeness upon myself as a part. Meaning, I experience myself as a part. I'm just a little boy, a little girl, a person trying to succeed here, a person doing this or that. That's who I feel myself deeply to be. And then I also have these claims of wholeness, of singularity, of centrality, of first personhood, right? Because they're true, right? If we pay attention to our experience, it is true that everything comes across to me as a sort of undivided subject, far as it seems, including knowledge of my own body and such. So those claims seem to be pasted onto, so to say, or applied upon myself as part, and consequently, that could be a sort of conceptual, philosophical explanation of why we put such tremendous, really infinite claims upon ourself as but a part. Even though my mind tells me, or can tell me if I ask it, that I was just born, even 100 years isn't that long, to be honest, if I'm 100. And shortly, because again, even if I live for another 100 years, it's also not that long. Shortly, I won't be. I wasn't, and I won't be, at least as I understand myself to be. Right? And I'm just one out of many, and there's so many millions of others that are just like me. My mind can tell me that, but my emotions and my desires and just my will, myself, what I want is that this little figment of reality, this little part, this little body, this little set of agendas and impulses, that ultimately, that is number one. That triumphs over all else and everybody else. And that could be a reason then why it is so utterly unpleasant to contemplate ourselves sinking into this anonymous, massive um, multitude of other people. Right? Why I want to differentiate myself. I'm the little kid with a flower in my hair. I'm not like all these other little kids. I'm a person with unique tastes. I'm not like all these other people. I'm a person that's successful. I'm not like them. I'm a person that is smarter than others. I'm a person that is more beautiful than others. I'm taller than others. I'm richer than others. I'm not like them. I don't want to sink in. I don't want to lose myself. I don't want to be nothing. So that could be a reason why. Now, having perhaps consider that suggestion, the question could then be asked, how do we go about this in a healthy way? Unhealthy ways are many. One would be to deny our individuality, to simply go ahead and say, you know what, I am just a whole, and my parthood is irrelevant. I refuse to consider it. That would seem to be an illicit uh, and unworkable, quote unquote, shortcut. Doesn't work that way. I certainly am also a part. Right? I also am a body. Right? I also, for example, need to breathe and to eat. And if I just deny that, I don't want to be like them. I'm just a whole. I don't need to breathe like all those other people and all the animals and so forth. I'm just going to die and I'm just going to suffer. I certainly need to address myself as a part. Another illicit approach would be to try to take myself as a part, and try to elevate it above all other parts, a priori, saying, me as a part, I am above all others. I'm superior to others. I'm actually the whole as a part. It's self-idolatry, and that's not good nor healthy. What could be a healthier option would be to attempt to realize the ideal of my individuality as a part, right? Because just like in a puzzle, each puzzle piece cannot be replaced by any other puzzle piece. You try to do that, you see, oh, this isn't a good fit. I have to try it somewhere else. There's only one piece that belongs in each part of the puzzle. So just so, arguably, with us, each individuality is unique. It is special, but as a part, right? As long as I keep that in mind, my uniqueness and my specialness, such as belongs to each and every other part, is phenomenal, and it is valuable. and it is worthwhile. It's only when I say, this little part of the puzzle is actually the whole puzzle. That will be the mistake. You have the analogy? There's a puzzle. Let's say it has 100 pieces. Some of the pieces presumably are larger. Some of them are smaller. Some of them maybe go to constitute some of the central elements of this picture depicted in the puzzle. The vase of the flower. That's 5 pieces, and then there's little detail in the corner, less important, maybe. But all the same, they're all important as it concerns the objective of having that complete puzzle. Now, to imagine, obviously, purely imaginarily speaking, that these puzzle pieces were self-conscious. Their error wouldn't be to say, I'm a puzzle piece and I'm very important, and without me, this puzzle won't be complete. That's 100% accurate. But that equally belongs to my neighbor here and to the puzzle on the other side of the picture, and so on. The mistake would be to say, I, the puzzle piece, am good by myself. I'm actually the whole. All those other pieces are irrelevant. All those other pieces can go away. I'm superior to them, and I'm really the only one that's needed. That would be bogus. The puzzle piece is a piece, and by itself, nobody needs it. It doesn't help anybody. It's only when all the puzzle pieces are together. So applying that analogy to ourselves, that could be a way to think of the healthy attitude concerning our parthood and our wholehood. I want to realize that ideal of myself as that puzzle piece. Who am I in the context of society? Who am I in the context of my family, of my community? What kind of contributions can I give? And so on. That's my puzzle piece, so to say. Now, the more that I realize that piecehood of my puzzle piece, just to make up words, maybe, the more that I realize the ideal of my individuality, the more simultaneously whole, hopefully, I can feel, because my wholeness is on the other side of proper maturation, of proper individuation, of proper development. Wholeness, as a state of being, as a state of self-consciousness, however we would describe it, is obviously not something that is available to a baby, nor generally to little children, nor to animals. So the only way to get to wholeness is through ourself as part, is through becoming who we can be. But that never entails and is totally antithetical to taking our parthood and absolutizing it. Just like that puzzle piece that says, you know what, I don't need any of the other pieces. I'm good by myself. Never. I never say I'm special and unique and important in a way that other people are not and cannot be. And I triumph over them, and they do not count, and I count. I'm actually the whole. That's called self-idolatry. And that defeats its own purpose because it just consigns us to being a miserable, wretched little part that continually is trying to derive the infinite from the finite. And when then I confront the facts of the finite, such as mortality, old age, weakness, sickness, failure, and so on, I can be confounded. What do you mean? I thought I was the whole. I thought I was infinite just the way I am as finite. And now I'm sick and I'm old and I'm weak and I don't count. Like, what's going on? So never that. Myself as part, I'm always a part. I constitute one piece of the puzzle along with every single other person. We all have a part to play. We all have some sort of contribution to make to the whole. But if I want to feel myself and experience myself as a whole, then I surrender those claims of self-idolatry. I surrender those claims of trying to elevate myself as part above everybody else. Instead, I just play my part. Instead, I just try to realize that ideal of individuality. And then hopefully I can coexist with other people in peace, in harmony, at least far as I'm concerned, while experiencing myself in an essentially self-satisfactory way. So those are some suggestions concerning this topic, and we can think about them. Thank you for listening.